15 ugly habits of old age that nobody dares to mention. There are 15 ugly habits that almost no one dares to tell you about, but they might be quietly stealing your health, joy, and dignity as you age. The truth is, once you recognize and remove these habits, you can live your later years stronger, happier, and more connected than ever before. So stay with us through this video to uncover what they are and how to stop them before it's too late. But first, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from today? We'd love to hear from you. Number 1. Neglecting personal appearance, dressing sloppily, or failing to care for oneself. One of the quietest yet most damaging risks in later life is the gradual neglect of personal appearance. It rarely happens overnight. Perhaps it begins with wearing the same shirt for 3 days because it feels soft and familiar, or postponing a haircut because there is no need to impress anyone. But over time, these choices send a message louder than any words. I am stepping back from life. In American culture, where self-presentation has long been tied to dignity, vitality, and independence, this unspoken message can slowly erode the warmth and respect others feel. Science supports what experience tells us. According to research from the National Institute on Aging, older adults who maintain regular grooming routines and wear clean, well-fitting clothes report higher self-esteem, greater social participation, and a 30% lower rate of loneliness compared to those who do not. Proper grooming also carries very real physical benefits. Wearing clean clothes and maintaining good hygiene reduces the risk of skin infections, especially in aging skin, which is thinner and more vulnerable. Well-fitting shoes help prevent slips and falls, still the leading cause of injury among Americans over 65, according to the CDC. Consider the case of a retired librarian from Vermont who noticed her circle of friends shrinking. She assumed others were too busy, but a gentle remark from a close friend revealed another truth. Her increasingly disheveled appearance made people worry she was unwell or not interested in company. She decided to refresh her wardrobe with a few comfortable but polished outfits and scheduled monthly hair trims. Within weeks, invitations returned, conversations lasted longer, and neighbors stopped by again. Her change wasn't about vanity, it was about showing she was still fully engaged with the world. Psychologists call this effect enclosed cognition, the idea that what we wear influences not only how others see us, but how we feel and think. A crisp shirt or fresh sweater can subtly lift mood, sharpen focus, and spark energy. This is especially important in later years, when confidence and purpose need daily nourishment. The simplest action plan is to keep a small rotation of comfortable yet presentable clothes ready, maintain a regular grooming schedule, and treat these moments as personal rituals of care. The message is powerful. I respect myself, I value my place in this world, and I choose to keep showing up. The lesson is that caring for personal appearance is not about chasing youth, it is about protecting health, maintaining dignity, and sending a clear invitation for connection and respect. Number 2, speaking without thinking, being overly blunt and hurting others with words. At a neighborhood gathering in North Carolina, 2 longtime friends, Walter and James, sat at the same table. Walter, a retired engineer, had a habit of speaking his mind without hesitation. If he thought someone had gained weight or made a poor decision, he would say so plainly, believing honesty was always the best policy. James, a retired school principal, carried a different approach. He too valued truth, but he wrapped it in empathy, often choosing words that guided rather than stung. By the end of the evening, people lingered around James, eager to share stories, while Walter sat quietly, noticing that conversations with him had been shorter and more guarded. This contrast is more than a matter of personality, it's a lesson in human connection. In American culture, where individual expression is valued, so is the ability to speak with kindness. Research from the University of Michigan found that older adults who consistently used compassionate communication reported stronger social networks and lower levels of perceived loneliness. Conversely, those who were routinely blunt without sensitivity experienced more social withdrawal from friends and family. The biology of aging also plays a role. Changes in hearing, memory, and emotional processing can make words feel heavier to the listener. A sharp comment that once rolled off easily in younger years may now cut deeper. This means the responsibility to choose words with care becomes even more important over time. Walter's belief that people should toughen up is common, but it overlooks a deeper truth. Words do not just share information, they shape relationships. In fact, neuroimaging studies show that hurtful language activates the same brain regions associated with physical pain. For someone already coping with health challenges or emotional stress, careless words can leave a mark that lasts long after the conversation ends. An easy science-backed habit is to pause for 3 seconds before responding, especially in moments of irritation or judgment. Asking internally, will this help or harm, can be enough to shift tone. It is also wise to focus on observations rather than labels, and when possible, to acknowledge something positive before offering a concern. The lesson from Walter and James is clear. Truth without kindness isolates, while truth with compassion connects. In later years, relationships are among life's most valuable treasures. Choosing words that protect those connections is not just polite, it is an act of wisdom, love, and lasting influence. Number 3, living in the past and paying little attention to the present. Those were the days, said a man at a local diner in Kansas, staring into his coffee as if the steam might carry him back in time. His voice carried both pride and melancholy. Around the table, a few nodded politely, but the conversation stalled. While cherished memories are a gift, living almost entirely in the past can quietly distance a person from the people and opportunities right in front of them. Nostalgia, when balanced, can bring joy, strengthen identity, and connect generations. However, research from Stanford University shows that when older adults focus excessively on past experiences, they engage less with new activities, show lower adaptability to change, and report higher levels of loneliness. This isn't about erasing history, it's about ensuring the present and future are still part of the story. In American culture, which often prizes forward movement and resilience, there is a subtle expectation that each stage of life brings its own adventures. The past can be a solid foundation, but if it becomes the only landscape visited, the walls of that memory can become a kind of invisible prison. Friends and family may stop sharing new experiences if they sense that every topic will be compared unfavorably to how it used to be. A striking example comes from a community center in Oregon where 2 women in their 70s joined a pottery class. One, Clara, often remarked that things were better in the old days and hesitated to try new techniques, insisting on methods she had used decades earlier. The other, Ruth, shared stories from her youth but also expressed excitement about learning something she had never tried before. Over time, Ruth formed close friendships and even sold some of her work at a local fair, while Clara's participation dwindled and her connections weakened. Neurologists note that the brain benefits from novelty at any age. New experiences stimulate neural pathways, improving memory, mood, and cognitive flexibility. Balancing fond reminiscence with present engagement is not just socially healthy, it is neurologically protective. A simple habit to embrace is setting aside time each week for something entirely new, tasting a dish never tried before, walking a different route, or learning a new skill. Sharing those present-day experiences with others can refresh relationships and create future memories worth retelling. The lesson is simple yet profound. The past is a cherished chapter, but it should never be the entire book. Life continues to offer pages worth reading, and turning them with curiosity and openness ensures the story remains vibrant and alive. Number 4, disconnecting from modern life and refusing to learn new technology or trends. What happens when the world continues to advance while personal skills stay the same? In today's America, technology is not just a convenience, it is the primary way families stay in touch, communities share information, and vital services are delivered. Choosing not to engage with even basic modern tools can create invisible barriers to connection, independence, and opportunity. According to a 2021 Pew Research Center study, older adults who regularly use the internet report significantly higher levels of life satisfaction and stronger bonds with family and friends. Yet many still avoid learning new skills, convinced that technology is too complicated or unnecessary. This reluctance often means missing out on everyday moments, a grandchild's first step shared in a video, neighborhood announcements, or simple chances to be part of conversations that now happen online. Technology today also carries profound benefits for health and safety. Telehealth visits reduce the need for difficult travel to medical offices. Digital medication reminders prevent missed doses. Emergency alert apps can summon help within seconds. Even something as simple as learning to navigate a smartphone map can expand freedom, reduce anxiety, and maintain self-reliance. Science offers further encouragement. Cognitive research from the University of California, Berkeley, shows that learning new skills, especially those involving technology, stimulates the brain, enhances memory, and strengthens problem-solving abilities. This mental engagement acts like exercise for the mind, helping maintain clarity and adaptability. The best approach is to start small. Set aside 15 minutes a day to practice a single task, such as sending a text, joining a video call, or downloading an app. Use clear, written instructions or ask a trusted friend to demonstrate. Celebrate each success, no matter how minor, and gradually build on it. These small victories add up, creating confidence and a renewed sense of capability. The lesson is simple but powerful. Embracing even the basics of modern life is not about replacing the old ways. It is about expanding the options available for connection, safety, and joy. Every skill learned is another thread tying a person more firmly to family, friends, and the vibrant world still unfolding around them. Number 5. Interrupting or dominating conversations and failing to truly listen. A leading gerontologist once warned, "The fastest way to lose influence in your later years is to talk more than you listen." In American culture, where respect is built on mutual exchange, conversations are more than the exchange of words. They are the foundation of trust, belonging, and emotional connection. When one person consistently interrupts, redirects the topic to their own experiences, or offers unsolicited advice, the balance breaks. Over time, others may choose to share less, shorten their visits, or avoid deeper topics altogether. Research from the University of Minnesota reveals that active listening, making eye contact, avoiding interruptions, and reflecting back what the other person has said strengthens interpersonal bonds and increases feelings of mutual respect. In contrast, dominating conversations, even with good intentions, can leave others feeling unheard and undervalued. This is especially true for younger generations, who may already feel a communication gap with older relatives. There is also a biological element. Aging can bring a sharper need to assert relevance, which sometimes translates into over-explaining or speaking over others. While the desire to share hard-earned wisdom is natural, timing and tone matter. Advice that is not requested can feel like a lecture, while a story that hijacks a conversation can unintentionally diminish someone else's experience. Neuroscience supports the value of restraint. Listening attentively engages brain regions linked to empathy and emotional regulation, skills that not only preserve relationships but also promote mental agility. Each moment of genuine listening becomes an exercise in cognitive health as well as social grace. A practical step is to adopt the 3-question rule. Before speaking, ask at least 3 questions about the other person's perspective or feelings. This creates space for them to share fully before shifting to one's own thoughts. Practicing short pauses after someone finishes speaking also ensures that responses are thoughtful rather than reactive. The lesson is straightforward yet profound. Speaking less and listening more does not diminish influence, it multiplies it. In later years, the voices most valued are not the loudest, but the ones that make others feel truly heard. Choosing to listen deeply transforms conversations from mere exchanges into meaningful moments of connection that people will seek out again and again. Number 6, constantly criticizing or judging younger generations. At a town hall meeting in Pennsylvania, a moment of unexpected tension filled the room when an older resident stood up during a discussion about new community programs and said, "Kids these days don't know the meaning of hard work." The room grew quiet, and several younger attendees glanced at each other, their expressions shifting from interest to discomfort. What was meant as a simple opinion had instantly created a wall between generations, cutting off the possibility of real dialogue. This kind of comment is more common than many realize, and while it may feel like sharing hard-earned wisdom, it often lands as dismissal or judgment. In the United States, where each generation faces its own unique challenges from the Great Depression to the digital age, blanket criticisms overlook the resilience and adaptability of younger people. The American Psychological Association notes that intergenerational respect is a two-way street. When older adults approach younger generations with curiosity rather than condemnation, trust and cooperation grow. Criticism also changes how people choose to interact. Younger family members may keep conversations shallow to avoid judgment, while neighbors or community members might limit contact altogether. Over time, this reduces opportunities for connection, leaving both sides with fewer shared experiences and less understanding of each other's worlds. From a psychological standpoint, harsh generalizations can trigger a defensive response in the listener, shutting down empathy and open-mindedness. On the other hand, asking genuine questions, what's it like to start a career in today's economy? Or how do you feel about raising kids in a digital world? Invites meaningful exchange. Such curiosity signals respect, which is more likely to be returned in kind. A small but impactful action is to replace comparison with exploration. Instead of saying, back in my day we did it better, try, I'm curious, how do you handle this now? This shift opens doors rather than closing them, allowing stories, values, and lessons to flow both ways. The lesson is clear. Criticizing younger generations may feel like protecting tradition, but it often isolates instead. Approaching with curiosity preserves dignity, builds bridges, and keeps the conversation alive, ensuring that wisdom is not lost, but shared in a way that others are ready to receive. Number 7, ignoring personal space and public etiquette. Public spaces are like shared gardens. Everyone has the right to enjoy them, but the beauty depends on how each person tends to their part. In America, where personal space is a deeply rooted cultural expectation, ignoring those unspoken boundaries can feel like stepping on someone else's flowers. Standing too close in a grocery line, speaking loudly in a quiet waiting room, or playing videos without headphones may seem harmless to the one doing it, but to others, it signals a lack of awareness or consideration. These moments matter more than they appear. A 2020 survey by the Pew Research Center found that 82% of Americans believe basic public courtesy has declined in recent years, with many citing breaches of personal space and noise control as key irritations. For older adults, these small habits can have an outsized impact on how others respond. When someone feels their comfort zone has been invaded, they may quietly step back physically and socially. Over time, this can lead to subtle exclusion from community interactions. From a health perspective, spatial awareness is also tied to safety. Crowded environments require more attentiveness to prevent falls or collisions, particularly for those with slower reflexes. Respecting personal space not only honors others' comfort, but also reduces the risk of accidental injury for everyone. There is a science behind these unspoken rules. Anthropologist Edward T. Hall identified proxemics, the study of personal space, noting that in American culture, a distance of about 18 inches to 4 feet is considered comfortable for casual interactions. Violating this zone without necessity can trigger a stress response in the brain, making conversations more strained and less friendly. A simple practice is to pause and observe before engaging. Notice how far others stand from one another in a line. Match your voice to the general noise level of the room, and use headphones when sharing audio in public. These small acts signal awareness, respect, and adaptability. The lesson is simple. Public spaces are a reflection of shared responsibility. By tending to them with the same care as a well-kept garden, each person helps create an environment where comfort and connection can grow one courteous action at a time. Number 8, focusing too much on personal health problems in conversation. A 2022 University of Michigan survey revealed that 61% of older adults discuss their health issues with friends or family at least once a week, and nearly a third do so daily. While seeking empathy and sharing experiences is natural, Making health struggles the central theme of most interactions can unintentionally overshadow other dimensions of one's personality and relationships. In a small coastal town in Maine, a group of neighbors met weekly for afternoon tea. Margaret, a retired nurse, had recently been diagnosed with arthritis. In the beginning, her friends listened closely to her updates, offering encouragement and practical tips. Over time, however, Margaret's stories rarely left the topic of her joint pain, medication changes, or doctor visits. The gatherings began to feel less like friendly chats and more like medical briefings, and the group's conversations gradually lost their sparkle. Eventually, the lively exchanges they once enjoyed became shorter and less frequent. This shift often happens without intent. As health plays a larger role in daily life, it can feel like the most pressing subject to discuss. Yet psychologists warn of symptom saturation, where repeated focus on illness can affect not only the listener's engagement, but also the speaker's own mood and sense of identity. Social connections thrive on variety. Stories about hobbies, recent discoveries, community events, or personal achievements can keep relationships balanced and emotionally nourishing. Experts at the Mayo Clinic recommend a simple approach. Acknowledge health matters briefly, then pivot to topics that invite shared interest and positivity. Asking others about their lives, exploring mutual hobbies, or exchanging light-hearted stories can refresh the emotional tone of any gathering. These shifts not only protect relationships, but also serve as subtle reminders that life remains multidimensional and worth engaging with fully. The takeaway is this: health concerns may be a reality, but they should never be the only lens through which life is experienced or shared. By consciously weaving in stories of curiosity, joy, and accomplishment, it is possible to keep conversations alive with color and warmth, allowing both the storyteller and the listener to leave each encounter feeling uplifted rather than weighed down. Number 9. Being stubborn, rigid, and unwilling to accept new ideas. The late afternoon sun streamed through the windows of a small town library in Colorado, casting golden light across a circle of book club members. A lively discussion about a newly released novel was underway, but it came to an abrupt halt when one member declared, "That's not how stories should be written," dismissing the author's modern style outright. The room fell into an awkward silence. A few tried to offer different perspectives, but each was met with a shake of the head and a firm, "No, that's just wrong." What could have been an exchange of ideas became a one-sided verdict, shutting down the potential for curiosity or discovery. This kind of rigidity is more than just a personality quirk. Studies from the American Psychological Association show that adaptability in later life is strongly linked to better mental health, stronger social connections, and even slower cognitive decline. Stubbornness, by contrast, can limit opportunities for learning, reduce social engagement, and foster feelings of isolation. In a society like the United States, where innovation is woven into the cultural fabric, resisting change often translates as resisting participation in the life that is unfolding all around. Psychologists point out that inflexibility often masks deeper emotions: fear of losing relevance, discomfort with uncertainty, or anxiety about not understanding new concepts. Acknowledging these feelings and approaching change with a sense of experimentation rather than threat can make new ideas less intimidating. Practical steps to soften rigidity can be surprisingly small. Agreeing to try one unfamiliar food at a local restaurant, attending a lecture on a topic outside personal expertise, or listening to a younger friend's music playlist can gently expand comfort zones. These acts don't require abandoning core values. They simply open windows where only walls once stood. The insight here is powerful. Holding on to personal principles is admirable, but locking the door against anything new can quietly close off the richness of life. Letting in fresh air, whether in the form of ideas, experiences, or perspectives, doesn't erase who someone is. It adds new colors to the canvas, making the picture of life fuller, more connected, and far more interesting to everyone who shares it. Number 10. Moving without awareness and becoming an obstacle to others. Some of the most frustrating moments in public spaces are not caused by loud arguments or blatant rudeness, but by people who simply seem unaware of the world around them. This may sound harsh, but in busy environments, a crowded farmer's market, an airport terminal, or even the church hallway after Sunday service, unconscious movements can disrupt the flow for everyone else. Stopping abruptly in the middle of a walkway, blocking an aisle with a shopping cart while reading a label, or slowly drifting into the path of oncoming foot traffic can create small but repeated moments of friction. While these habits are rarely intentional, their impact is real. A 2019 survey from the American Public Transportation Association found that over 60% of respondents considered people blocking paths without noticing one of their top annoyances in public settings. For older adults, the consequences can be even more personal. Others may quietly avoid shopping together, attending events side by side, or walking in groups if it means they have to navigate around constant slowdowns. From a safety standpoint, spatial awareness is not just courteous, it is protective. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention emphasize that preventing falls is not only about balance, but also about anticipating movement in shared spaces. Being mindful of where the body is in relation to others reduces the risk of collisions and gives those moving more quickly room to pass safely. Improving awareness can be as simple as adopting small habits, keeping to one side of an aisle when pausing, stepping aside before stopping to chat, or taking a moment to glance behind before changing direction. In many American cities and towns, these unspoken rules are part of what keeps community life flowing smoothly, whether at a busy grocery store or during a holiday parade. The deeper point is that movement is a kind of silent communication. It tells others whether a person is tuned in to the shared rhythm or moving to their own beat without regard for the group. Choosing awareness is a way of saying, I'm part of this space with you. And that simple shift can transform daily encounters from quiet irritation to quiet respect. Number 11, using outdated humor that alienates others. It is one of life's great paradoxes. Humor is meant to bring people closer, yet the wrong kind of joke can push them further away. Many older adults grew up in an era when teasing about someone's appearance, background, or personal choices was considered lighthearted. But in today's cultural climate, where respect for diversity and sensitivity to lived experiences are valued, those same jokes can land with an uncomfortable thud. What was once a quick laugh decades ago can now cause silence, awkward glances, or a polite subject change. This shift is not about making people overly cautious. It reflects evolving social awareness. A 2021 Gallup poll found that 59% of Americans believe society has become more sensitive to humor that singles out specific groups. And while this has sparked debates, the effect is clear. People are less likely to engage with those whose jokes feel outdated or dismissive. There is also a neurological dimension to consider. Humor activates reward centers in the brain, releasing dopamine and fostering social bonding. However, when humor triggers discomfort instead, it activates stress responses, causing the listener to associate that person with unease rather than enjoyment. Over time, this can subtly weaken social ties. Updating one's humor does not mean abandoning personality or wit, it means redirecting it. Self-deprecating humor, clever observations, and shared absurdities in daily life often land far better than jokes that rely on stereotypes or put someone down. For example, joking about the universal struggle of opening a tightly sealed jar or navigating a confusing parking lot can spark genuine laughter without targeting anyone. The practice of positive humor, recommended by psychologists, is to aim for jokes that lift spirits rather than divide. Watching a modern stand-up comedian who uses inclusive humor, swapping favorite lighthearted stories with friends, or simply paying attention to what gets smiles versus awkward silences can help fine-tune this skill. In the end, humor is a powerful social currency, but like any currency, its value depends on context. Choosing wit that connects rather than separates ensures that laughter remains what it should be, a bridge between people, not a wall. Number 12, pretending to be helpless when still capable. On a warm Saturday morning in Georgia, a family gathered in the kitchen to prepare breakfast. While her daughter flipped pancakes and her grandson set the table, Eleanor stood by the counter holding a carton of milk. "Can you open this for me? I'll probably spill it," she said with a small laugh. Her grandson obliged, but later admitted to his mother that Grandma had opened the same kind of carton on her own the day before. It It was a small moment, but one that revealed a habit forming over time, asking for help not out of true need, but out of comfort or habit. This behavior often begins innocently. Perhaps a person fears making a mistake, or wants to feel cared for, or enjoys the closeness that comes when someone steps in. But when it becomes routine, it can erode independence and subtly shift relationships into a caregiver dependent dynamic, even when that level of assistance isn't necessary. In American culture, where self reliance is deeply valued, this shift can affect how others perceive competence and vitality. Research from Boston University shows that maintaining functional independence, even in small daily tasks, contributes to better physical health, stronger cognitive function, and higher self-esteem in older adults. Conversely, unnecessary reliance can lead to learned helplessness, a psychological state in which people lose confidence in their abilities over time. The key is to distinguish between what truly requires assistance and what is still within reach. Carrying a light grocery bag, figuring out a television remote, or following a simple recipe without supervision might take more time or patience, but each instance reinforces capability. These actions keep muscles engaged, reflexes sharp, and self-assurance intact. Small victories matter. The act of completing tasks independently sends a quiet but powerful message to family, friends, and most importantly to oneself. I am still capable. That confidence has a way of radiating outward, encouraging others to trust in one's strength and judgment. Choosing independence when possible is not about proving something to others. It is about preserving personal dignity, physical health, and the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing life can still be handled with one's own two hands. Number 13. Always insisting on being right and refusing to accept other viewpoints. The bold truth is this: being right all the time is not a measure of wisdom. It is a fast track to losing meaningful conversation. In later years, decades of experience can create a powerful sense of certainty, and while that knowledge is valuable, it can easily harden into a habit of correcting, overruling, or dismissing other opinions. In American social life, whether around the family dinner table, in community meetings, or during casual chats at the local cafe, this pattern can gradually turn discussions into monologues, leaving others feeling unheard or unvalued. Research from the Harvard Study of Adult Development, one of the longest running studies on happiness, shows that the quality of relationships has a stronger impact on well-being than wealth, career success, or even physical health. One of the relationship damaging behaviors highlighted in their findings is the inability to engage in open give and take dialogue. People naturally gravitate toward those who make space for different perspectives, even when disagreements arise. The urge to be right often masks deeper fears: fear of losing relevance, of being overlooked, or of having one's life experience dismissed in a rapidly changing world. But clinging to authority in every exchange can unintentionally push others away, especially younger generations who may already feel hesitant to share their views. The practice of intellectual humility, listening fully, asking clarifying questions, and even admitting when someone else has a better solution strengthens trust. It shows confidence rather than insecurity, and paradoxically, it often increases the respect others feel. This does not mean abandoning deeply held beliefs. It means holding them with enough openness to allow for genuine conversation. A simple strategy is to replace the automatic "that's wrong" with "that's interesting, tell me more." This small shift invites discussion rather than ending it. Over time, these moments accumulate into a reputation not just for knowledge, but for wisdom, the kind that listens as much as it speaks. And in the end, that is the kind of rightness people will always remember. Number 14. Withdrawing from community life and avoiding social participation. Here's a warning worth taking seriously. Isolation in later life can be as damaging to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. This finding from the National Institute on Aging is a sobering reminder that staying socially engaged is not a luxury, it is a necessity. In towns across America, from small rural communities to bustling suburbs, opportunities for connection abound, yet it's surprisingly easy to step away from them. Skipping church services just this Sunday, passing on the neighborhood potluck, or avoiding the monthly book club because I'm not in the mood, can slowly turn into months, even years of reduced contact. Consider Frank, a retired firefighter in Ohio who once organized annual block parties and rarely missed a town hall meeting. After his wife passed away, he began declining invitations, telling friends he was just too tired. At first, they called and checked in regularly. Over time, the calls came less often, not because people stopped caring, but because they assumed he wanted to be left alone. The result was a shrinking social circle and a growing sense of disconnection from the community he once helped build. The dangers go beyond loneliness. Social withdrawal has been linked to higher risks of depression, cognitive decline, and even cardiovascular problems. Conversely, studies from the Mayo Clinic show that regular social activity supports brain health, boosts immune function, and improves overall life satisfaction. The benefits don't require constant activity. What matters is steady, meaningful participation. Staying engaged doesn't have to mean large, exhausting commitments. It can be as simple as attending a weekly coffee gathering, volunteering at a local food bank once a month, joining a walking group at the park, or taking part in a class at the community center. Each interaction is a thread that strengthens the fabric of belonging, weaving personal identity into the shared story of the community. The truth is clear. Withdrawing from community life may feel safe in the moment, but it gradually closes doors to joy, purpose, and human connection. Stepping back into the circle, even in small ways, can restore not only social ties, but also the sense of being part of something larger, something worth showing up for. Number 15. Constant complaining and failing to express gratitude. Someone once joked, some people can find the cloud in every silver lining, and while it earns a laugh, there is a deeper truth hiding inside. In daily life, especially in later years, it can be tempting to comment on everything that is wrong. The weather is too hot, the coffee is too cold, traffic is too slow, people are too fast. Over time, this pattern becomes more than a habit. It becomes the lens through which others experience every interaction. In American social culture, where optimism and resilience are often celebrated, constant complaining can quietly erode relationships. Friends and family may start to brace themselves before a visit, unsure if the conversation will leave them feeling uplifted or drained. A 2020 study from the University of California, Berkeley, found that people who focused more on expressing gratitude experienced higher levels of life satisfaction and stronger social bonds, regardless of age. The opposite was also true. Those who defaulted to frequent negativity saw their networks shrink over time. This is not to say that frustration should be silenced. Acknowledging challenges is part of authentic connection, but pairing those truths with moments of appreciation changes the tone entirely. For example, instead of saying, "This restaurant is too noisy," try, "It's a bit loud, but I'm glad we got a table with a great view." This reframing keeps honesty intact while still offering something positive for others to connect to. Gratitude also carries measurable health benefits. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that people who kept a simple gratitude journal, writing down 3 things they were thankful for each day, reported improved mood, better sleep, and lower blood pressure within 10 weeks. The act of noticing and naming blessings literally shifts the brain's focus toward resilience and well-being. A practical way to start is by ending each day with one sentence of thanks, spoken aloud or written down. It could be as simple as appreciating a neighbor's wave, the taste of fresh fruit, or a phone call from a friend. Over time, this practice can turn gratitude into a natural response rather than a conscious effort. In the end, while clouds will always pass through life's sky, the choice to look for light and to share that light makes every interaction warmer. Gratitude is not about ignoring problems. It is about keeping joy in the conversation so that people leave our presence feeling lighter, not heavier. As we reflect on the 15 unspoken habits that often creep into our later years, one powerful truth becomes clear. Growing older doesn't mean growing invisible, it means growing more intentional. Every small choice we make, every word we speak, every way we show up in the world is a message. And that message can either say, "I'm fading away," or "I'm still here, fully alive." It's not just about wearing clean clothes or learning to use a smartphone. It's about something far deeper: dignity, connection, and purpose. When we let go of personal grooming or isolate ourselves from community life, We don't just lose social moments, we slowly give away parts of our vitality. But when we make the decision to stay present, engaged, and open minded, we reclaim that vitality and we send a different message. I matter. I'm still learning. I still belong. Science backs this up. Studies from the National Institute on Aging and Harvard show that older adults who stay socially active, speak with empathy, maintain routines, and learn new skills experience lower levels of depression, sharper memory, and even longer life expectancy. Why? Because the mind thrives on purpose, the heart thrives on connection, and the body thrives when we live with intention. Let's be honest, aging isn't always easy. Our bodies change, our roles shift, people move on or grow distant. But what stays with us, what we still control, is our attitude. And that attitude can be a quiet revolution, a smile instead of a complaint, curiosity instead of criticism, listening instead of lecturing, gratitude instead of grumbling. Take a look at the little things. Combing your hair even when no one's watching. Dressing with care even if you're just going to the store. Asking your grandchild about their world instead of insisting they understand yours. These aren't minor gestures. These are daily acts of resilience and love. They say, I still care about life, and I still care about you. So, what's the core lesson? Age gracefully, but live fiercely. Don't vanish quietly. Don't settle for just getting by. Show up for yourself, for others, and for the world that still needs your wisdom, your stories, your laughter, and your light. You don't have to do it all. But choose one thing each day that keeps you grounded in life, not drifting from it. If this video touched your heart or gave you something valuable to think about, please share it with someone you love. It might be exactly what they need to hear today. And if you're new here or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss our upcoming videos on living well, thinking clearly, and aging with purpose. Most of all, we'd love to hear from you. What part of today's message spoke to you most? What small habit are you ready to change or embrace? Leave us a comment below. We're here and we're listening. Thank you so much for watching. Stay strong, stay kind, and may your journey through this beautiful stage of life be filled with joy, peace, and purpose.